got Ryan D Silva with me. Welcome, Ryan.
Hey, Barton, so good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you, man. So you've worked in a lot of positions. You've worked as a coordinator. You've worked as an assistant director. Tell us, for those of us who may not know what the term assistant director means, what does it mean, and what can you tell us what that job might be? And I want to ask it in two parts. What is the job like on a film set versus a live event? Because you've done quite a bit of both. So
Yes.
what is your job like in those two very different worlds?
So yeah, and I think we were talking a little bit earlier, Barton. I'll tell you that what I tend to be, and there's others like us, where we're unicorns in the industry, right? A lot of Michiganders will be, just because we work so many different formats. I think there's a little more of a crossover between narrative style commercial or just commercial in general into film or commercial into and other things. But there's also very much a commercial, like in Atlanta, for example. That's its own bunch of people that do commercials. Is there some crossover? Sure, but primarily, like if there's enough work and you do narrative features, that's sort of, or TV shows in that sense, that's what you're primarily staying with, right? In Michigan, we all work commercials. It's sort of bread and butter when there's not. The incentive was relatively new, and I think filmmaking here was somewhat newer. There was some stuff prior to incentive, but commercials have been around. Mark, you could attest, for like ever out here. And
We have some specialists in this area who know how to shoot cars and sheet metal.
yeah, well, it used to be if the auto industry coughed, right, the whole nation got a cold or something like that, because Detroit was pretty. Let's backtrack. So my apologies. I didn't realize Mark was not playing in this. All right. So, hi, I'm Ryan. Hi, Barton. So good to be here with you again.
So tell us what an assistant director really does. What's the range of what's a day like?
So assistant director in film, commercial, and television, and I'll speak to it more of what an assistant director does from the narrative format, right? And I know that we're talking a little bit about me being a unicorn in the terms of the formats that I work. I've worked live event television, commercial. At one point, I've worked reality TV. I've worked a lot of different formats, and then narrative. They're all similar but very different. It's that sort of quagmire in that sense, but I'll speak in terms of a narrative end of what an AD or the AD department does do. They're the logistical side of things, along with locations on your other shows and production. Everybody sort of co-works in the logistical, but the first AD, I will say, is sort of that balance between the creative and the logistical, but more so on the logistical. What I was once told by ADs that I've worked with to really get a good definition, the first sort of thing that people who are uninitiated in film and TV might think an AD is the director's assistant, and that's far from that. It's definitely not the case. And assistant director, I think it's a good sort of definition of that, because that's what the AD does, is they assist the director. They assist them in helping that project get made within the time allocated, budget allocated, and all the other varying circumstances. So first and foremost, the first assistant director, right, does the schedule. That's their baby, the schedule. They are schedulers. We are schedulers. That in terms is what a first, second, and what everybody else in the AD department that's listed on that fun sheet as AD department does, is help that first AD make their days, meaning make that schedule and get it done with, depending on the show you're on, because this, and Barton, I'm sure you could attest, varies. There's some shows that have unlimited time, money, budget, resources, and they're not worried about overtime. That's not their going over that they're worried about, right? They're worried about turnarounds in the back end so you accomplish more day. But if you're in a lower budget sort of aspect, it's definitely you want to make your days, meaning you want to finish and not hit overtime. Fun fact about assistant directors, as far as I know, and anybody, please fact check me. I'm always good at that. But as far as the research I've done, the film industry for crew in general is a lower life expectation for an industry, right? Lower life expectancy. There you go. So, essentially, I believe the first AD and the AD department in general still has the lowest out of an industry like that, which is why is that, right?
Just burnout, right?
Lack of sleep. Yeah. I mean, if you're a base camp second, which is, base camp ADing or running base camp, which I've done a lot of, you're not sleeping. The first actor that's in, you're there. So there's a lot of that. And more that we could go into, and I know that our time's brief, but speaking from Michigan, I could say that, one, it's been good to come back and see shows happen in Michigan. I started in college where there wasn't television necessarily. It was not film, there was TV. So I started from doing like live TV broadcasting classes. So the MAB is something I'm very familiar with. It's been very present. I also had the opportunity to go to the NAB, right, the National Association of Broadcasters Convention in LA, which everybody should go to once in their life. But broadcasting's become broader, and I could see all these formats with the digital revolution, and you'll agree to this, Barton. Everything's become more of a symbiotic merging of all genres together. So. And
fantastic, man. Well, thanks for all you do. It's fantastic, and you've been a great friend of the program.
Thank you for all you do, and you guys are some of my favorite people to come back home to Michigan and be able to work.
Stay safe, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks,